it's been a while since I've done a camera comparison, but I finally got a new phone. It's the Honor 20 Pro, and we're gonna compare that to the P30 today, the regular P30, not the Pro. And I'm gonna assume the Honor image quality is probably gonna be the same or similar to the Huawei because Huawei owns Honor, but we'll find out once we get to the actual comparison. So this is a low light front facing test, and I'm walking on a sidewalk next to a busy street, so hopefully that could help you guys decide which has the better microphone as well. But yeah, walking along the sidewalk, there are street lights above me, and this one is more of the yellowy tungsten look, so it might look a little bit weird. But anyways, let's move on to the next section.
For the front facing camera, both of them are really similar. The only difference I can see is the color. The P30 is so ever slightly greenish. You would really have to look to tell. For low light front facing selfies, the P30 wins. If you really look at my sweater, you can see a lot more detail, whereas on the Honor 20 Pro, it looks a bit more mushed together and a lot more artifacts showing up. So in portrait and aperture mode, I gotta say the Honor 20 Pro looks much better in terms of color. Now the Huawei P30, for some reason, a lot of the pictures is more on the greener side. During the daytime, it's pretty inconsistent. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it's a little bit greenish, and sometimes it's a lot of green. When it hits to dark time or low light, the colors of the overall image on a P30 seems a bit more dull and less vibrant than the Honor 20 Pro. For HDR, I gotta say both of them are really similar. Huawei P30 wins just by a little bit if you just really look for it, but at first glance they are really similar. Now there are times where I took pictures where clearly the Huawei P30 is better at HDR, so I'm just gonna give it to the P30. For everyday picture taking using all the lenses from ultra wide 1, 3, 5 and all the way up to 30x, I gotta say both of them are really similar in terms of quality. The only difference I can see in terms of the picture is just the color. Now I gotta say again, the Honor 20 Pro color looks a bit more vibrant, more natural, and more color accurate because the greenish shade on the P30 really knocks it off. But it's not always there, it's pretty inconsistent. A lot of times the pictures on the P30 is just fine, but I do notice that the green shows up a lot more often on the P30. Moving to macro pictures, I gotta say the P30 does better than the Honor 20 Pro. Even though the Honor 20 Pro has its own dedicated macro lens, for some reason it just doesn't get as close as the P30. Even though I try to match it as close as I can, I often find that the P30 actually gets better macro photography than the Honor 20 Pro. I don't know why, but that's just what it is. Moving on to lower light photography or just dark places, both of them again really similar to each other. In the low light, the colors I still favor on the Honor 20 Pro. With the random green tint going on the P30, it makes the whole image a bit dull, more grayish, and it doesn't seem to have any color at all. For the very dark pictures where you want to use night mode, the Huawei P30 wins in this case. The P30 does much better in regular photo taking and using night mode, so it doesn't really matter which one you use, the Huawei P30 seems to always win in this case. And there's no surprise, the green tint still shows up on the Huawei P30. Moving on to video, both of them do 4K 30, no 4K 60 yet, but for HDR, both of them are pretty similar. Again, just like photography, the P30 does win by a smudge. For handheld stabilization, the P30 wins as well. You really have to look for it, but if you look really closely, every step that I take, the moment that my feet hits the floor, you can see the micro vibrations on the Honor 20 Pro. Panning around, it looks just fine. There are times when it's a bit jerky just because it's trying to catch it with a hand movement, but other than that, the P30 does win in stabilization. In ultra wide mode is really inconsistent of what you can get. Sometimes it's choppy, sometimes it looks too shaky, but in this case, the clear winner here is Honor 20 Pro while shooting in ultra wide mode. One feature that the Huawei P30 does have that the Honor 20 Pro doesn't is the dual view mode. So if you really like using this mode or just find a use for it, then the Honor 20 Pro does not have this. For low light video, both of them do have a lot of micro jitters, but a little bit more on the Honor 20 Pro just because of what I mentioned earlier with the strong steps that I take. And another thing I noticed in the darker areas, that the noise and artifacts are much more aggressive on the Honor 20 Pro than the P30. But I will say though, on the Honor 20 Pro, the white balance seems to be much more better. It will try to neutralize the really orange tungsten look on your face. So if you do like that better, then the Honor 20 Pro is the way to go. So that is my comparison or my experience using both of these phones and seeing these two images, how they compare to each other. I will be comparing the Honor 20 Pro against all the phones that I still have, so stay subscribed for that. Links will be down below if you're interested. Follow me on Instagram, please like and share. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.